Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum, and today we're going to talk about Magmatron because next year is coming up is Magmatron's 25th anniversary that no one really should care about. No one was waiting around for it, but here he is, and they have re-released Magmatron at a ridiculous price of $90. This, however, is the original Magmatron that has just been sitting around since 1999 that I got on one of those lonely nights walking through Toys R Us, and it was only $20. And here you have three dinosaurs that combine together into a robot form. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So, inflation certainly exists, right? I mean, I don't know why it should cost $90 now, being that the mold has already been made. The money was already made on this, and they didn't change anything about it. The colors are even the same if you were to order it now. But here he is, the original Magmatron, and sometimes it's been said that he was a combination of different dinosaur creatures. And so initially, well, at least at one point, erroneously on the box, it had said that it was a raptor, a plesiosaur, and a pterodon. And I've even seen it where they described the purple or the bluish part of the dinosaur as a T-Rex. And it's definitely not a T-Rex because it has three fingers. So later on, they clarified that this is a Giganotosaurus, an Elasmosaurus, and a Quetzalcoatlus dinosaur. And that is definitely accurate. And looking at them, you'd be able to see that. And behind that is the Jurassic World toys of Elasmosaurus, Quetzalcoatlus, and Giganotosaurus. So we can compare that once we take this guy apart and check that out. So he has a weapon here that fires a missile. Now, the thing about Magmatron is it doesn't have great articulation. The head is always kind of looking down, and it doesn't turn really. It's and the hands, or the paw claws of the Quetzalcoatlus that tab in here don't tab in very well. And so if you try to move the head there, it always loosens up. So the head doesn't move. It's got spider webs on it. And you can put these things in glass cases and they still get spider webs. All right, so here is the weapon, and that does have a spring-loaded weapon that fires. And it sort of doubles as a sword. You can see that. It's kind of like a transformer-looking ancient sword. And push that, and then there you go. It's spring-loaded. And the Quetzalcoatlus also has these missiles here. So if he fires off this missile, of which there's only one, you can then use your Quetzalcoatlus missiles, which are not as scary looking, but they're lighter, so they'll actually shoot further. And so then, it also can come out of his hand, and then you can turn it around this way, and you see it has a pegging tab. So you can if he holds it like this, it's like a sword, and if he holds it like that, then it's like a handgun. And then you can see. Now it doesn't, and it falls. So yeah, it doesn't have a wrist articulation that turns. It turns in the elbow. So, things sometimes back then didn't have all the articulated joints that they have now, but then there's a lot of things that were better back then too, so I can't blame it on time. It's just design. So all right, so then he can hold that as a handgun, and he does fall over easily. Now he's got these robo legs that can fit underneath his feet there, Magmatron's feet, and to make it, I don't know, I guess maybe he can walk on hot coals, or he's got wheels back there so he can kind of roll along on those feet. And then he has the Elasmosaurus body is a shield, right? Obviously. and then on his shoulder, as so many Transformers do. I mean, you have Megatron that has the head that actually becomes a hand, but then you have in the Power Rangers, those often use the dino head as a shoulder. So then here he is from the back. And what I liked about this back then is you have all these ball joints to create the Elasmosaurus head and give it great articulation. You know, it can bite around. And so there you go, like that. And then it's got a peg here, and I can only assume that for whatever reason, you can peg that into his hand as well. And he can hold on to his Elasmosaurus head for whatever reason, and maybe it can fire like lasers or fire or something like that. But all right, so this was the only U.S. release Japanese Transformer in America that actually had Japanese writing on the box, and the Japanese writing said more than meets the eye, and so that's just something else that was unique. Well, so I'm going to convert this into the dinosaur modes, and then we will compare them to the Jurassic World dinosaurs. All right, so I've got everything transformed into dinosaur mode, and when you haven't played with something like this in a while, you really get to rediscover things about them. And I've got to say, these Takara Transformers, not Hasbro, are amazing. And back then, I didn't really realize or appreciate how amazing it was, because a lot of the Transformers from Beast Wars were pretty amazing. And this really wasn't a Beast Wars Transformer. It just came out during that era. So, that's actually when I started collecting Transformers, because finally there were Transformers with full articulation of shoulders and hips and wrists and things like that. Before that, they were just very rigid and robotic and didn't have a lot of movement. But one of the things I discovered or rediscovered is when I was looking at the Giganotosaurus Transformer, is I'd forgotten that the tail opens up, and inside the tail you have missile storage. So you can store your missiles inside here, and there was an extra missile that I'd forgotten about. It's great to play with these things again. And so the handgun actually fits up underneath the neck here. Okay, so that fans out. And underneath here, you also can see the Predacon symbol there. All right, so even though it said on the box he was an Autobot. But there's the Predacon symbol, and so the gun fits in there, and you open his mouth, and there's a spring-loaded thing inside, and that fires this missile, which was hidden in his tail, so a slimmer missile that will fit in there. And so he can open his mouth and fire a missile. And, because he has all this firepower, now I can see why this thing is rated as a highly powerful Transformer suitable to go up against Optimus Prime. Its scores are all 9s and 10s as far as strength, firepower, intelligence, and all that. So quite a neat Transformer there. And then here's the Elasmosaurus. And again, I just, I'd never seen a Transformer like this at that time, 99. So this has a spring load here. You pull these back legs, and the front legs swim. And just the way that you can fit everything in here is really where the Takara Transformers excel in the detail. And then you can see you have all these joints in this super long neck that Elasmosaurus was known for. Some people think the Loch Ness Monster may be an Elasmosaurus. And the way that this fit together, too, is just really great. So you have this pegging in here. So it's really worth noting how this whole thing fits together. So here's the arms, right, to Magmatron. And I always was a little bit curious about how, you see how it has, in the forearm, it has this ditch here. And I guess they just took it for granted back in the day when I would transform it. But that is, specifically made for the thumb to fit into, so then it would fit tightly when you fold it in under here. And once again, there's the Predacon symbol on the shoulder. It's got the separate shoulder armor, which is cool. And then you can see in the forearm, it's even got like the imprint of hydraulics, which is neat. And here's another thing that initially was frustrating transforming this, but then I realized that this is actually really clever. So this posterior or part, let's see, the anterior is the top, posterior part bottom of the transformer has this piece that folds in under here when it's a shield. But in order to make a good tight connection with this top part, you see how this has indents here, and then you slide that in. And you couldn't slide it if it only went like that and you kept trying to get it in. It's very difficult. So it swings out, then you can get your finger around it, then slide it in, then push it in, then it folds in, and you have these tabs here that, to cover everything. I mean, to cover those massive arms, which is just really amazing. And then you got to make sure the tabs are all out, and then peg that in the bottom here by the tail, and then there. And then, it makes, for what it is, a really tight transformation. And then your pterosaur, actually not pterosaur, sorry, Quetzalcoatlus, quite simple. And again, Predacon symbol, and he's got good articulation in the feet, and just full articulation. And then you have these wings, and they are, let's see, I thought they were spring loaded. Let's see, I'm pretty sure they are. There's something I'm missing here. Yeah, that's what, okay, you pull on the tail here, and then there, and then that springs. So, okay, so compared to today's toys, today's Transformers, $90, I could see it now. But I still think $90 is steep for, some pieces of plastic and a mold that's already been made, nearly 25 years ago. But it really is it's a great Transformer, actually. And you have, look, all the articulation in the head, And so, all right, so if we compare these to their Jurassic World buddies, all right, so here's an Elasmosaurus from Jurassic World. And you can see the similarity in the head shape and, the teeth being still visible when the mouth is closed, just like this one. And then you have your buttons here. So you push that button and then his head goes down. Push the other button and then it goes the other way. So one goes down and then one goes over. You got a lot of fish to eat. Those are teeth. When teeth are kind of snaggled looking like that, that is a fish-eating creature, whether it's a dinosaur or some kind of reptile or even fish. It's meant those teeth are very good at grabbing the slippery fish and not letting them go. And so you don't have the action like with the limbs, spring action. But you can see you got your limbs, and this, because it doesn't have electronics in it, doesn't make any roar or anything like that. You can play with it in the water, which is cool. And you can even see the scaling on the body, which is neat. And you can see the scaling on the head of the Transformer, too. All right, so Quetzalcoatlus. All right, so you can see him from the back and the scale there. All right, Quetzalcoatlus over here, and compare that to this. And Quetzalcoatlus is the largest pterosaur ever, the wingspan around 40 feet. And who knows, maybe they'll find even bigger ones. But, all right, so let's take a look. So this Quetzalcoatlus doesn't have teeth, but our Transformer one does. And, it might have had teeth, actually. So, all right, and then this, you have a button here to press, and then you have another button, and its head goes up and down. And around here, Quetzalcoatlus often becomes food for a T-Rex or something, so his storage area is inside the mouth of a T-Rex. And yeah, this is there's actually an older version of Quetzalcoatlus with the Jurassic Park. So all right, but you can definitely tell, like where the hands are and the number of fingers and everything. I mean, this is it's the same body design as Quetzalcoatlus. You just have the shortened tail like that. Let's see, and there's the feet. So, similar position to the feet. It's slightly different, but all right, so that's acceptable. You have this ridge on the head here, and then don't have quite the same kind of ridge there, but you do, but all right. So, there also could be gender differences, like maybe the males had a head like that and the females didn't. That birds and reptiles often are dimorphically very different. All right, so then we go over to the Giganotosaurus, which is Jurassic World 3 antagonist, major antagonist, a little bigger, heavier than T-Rex, but did not have the skull structure in order to bite as hard as a T-Rex. So, people often wonder, why is T-Rex still the king? Well, if you get bit by a T-Rex, yeah, because it's going to crush whatever it bites. It bites a neck or bites a head or bites anything. It's got the power to just clamp down and crush anything. So really, one bite from a T-Rex is the end of the fight. The key is not to get bit by the T-Rex. So, all right, so you have your Giganotosaurus, and you'll take note here that it has 3 fingers like an Allosaurus, and a Giganotosaurus is somewhat related to the Allosauridae instead of the T-Rex, class of dinosaurs. And then if we look at our Giganotosaurus Transformer, you can see that's what it is. I mean, you can see the 3 fingers, but I think more importantly, the skull structure. You can see the ridge over the eye and the ridge over the eye and the flattened head here and elongated, and not the bulky mouth and shortened muzzle of a T-Rex that's meant more for crushing bone. This is definitely can crush the bones of some dinosaurs, but it's a longer mouth, and so the leverage is not designed the same. It's probably more for causing massive bleeding damage. And you see it's also got the teeth, interlocking teeth that are, when it bites something, it's not going to let go. And it does have the longer arms and big, powerful feet that are going to tear into the underbelly of a dinosaur, maybe a sauropod, one of the long neck, heavy, slow dinosaurs, assuming they're slow. And you can see also it has the forward 3 toes, the Transformer and the Jurassic World toy, similar 3 toes, and then the heavy, thick tail. Now it doesn't have the ridge on the back, but it's also possible, maybe just design, because it's got to have things that peg in here, as you can see. The pterosaur Transformer, and all the parts that peg in. And, and then you just fold these feet up in there. It's robo feet, which are pretty cool, right? So if it needs to get away real quick, it's got the robo feet over there. So pretty neat. So, all right, so that is my review and discussion of Magmatron. And, just right before its 25th anniversary. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. It certainly was fun getting this guy out of the glass cabinet and really refamiliarizing myself with it. The only thing I would improve is somehow I'd want to have the head, which hides underneath here. So this just unfolds. I'd like to have that to be able to turn. So if they came up with some kind of engineering solution where the head could turn and actually be a little bit more upright, not sort of looking down all the time, that would be great. But in any case, I think it's just a great Transformer. And boy, at $20 back then, what a steal, right? I mean, it's and the plastic is good. I mean, here it is 20 years later, and nothing is broken. If I would recommend, again, if you have plastic toys, action figures, Transformers, and they've been sitting around in kind of a cold area, warm them up first. Put them maybe in warm water. Put them over a heater, or near a heater. Let the plastic warm up before you start moving it. It can make a really big difference. I had a Halo action figure recently, and it was a little bit cold, and I was moving the arm around, and the plastic just ripped. It didn't even snap. It just ripped, and I had to go and repair that. And I boiled the upper body in water, put it in boiling water to take things apart so I could repair them. And that got the other arm that wasn't broken moving really well. So now everything moves really well. And I really just wish I had done that to begin with. So thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.